Welcome to the Amazon's podcast, back for another hour or less, as the case may be. I'm Glenn Young, owner of Amazon's Fitness Magazine. Celebrate the female physique. Subscribe to Amazon'sFitMag.com. The podcast is brought to you by GPS Photography and Video. Why photography and video? Because a photo's worth 1,000 words, video's worth 1,000,000. GPSPhotoandVideo.com. Joining me all the way from Chicago, live from Chicago, the Chicago Pro,
About
IFBB Pro,
Florida.
Women's Physique Pro, Daphney Holmes. How
Hey,
are you?
I'm great. Thank you for asking. How are you?
Yeah, I'm great. I'm so glad that you could take time out to talk to me, especially as the show
Absolutely.
will begin officially tomorrow during your peak week. Talking about the whole process. This is your second show of the year.
Second show of the season. Yes, sir.
Okay, because you did Shreveport.
I did.
All right. So talk to me about the venue, the whole check-in process. How does your coach say you're looking? What's going on?
So, as you mentioned, it is my second show this season. We did Optimum Classic in May. That was a beautiful. I love doing that show. I love supporting the promoter,
Mm-hmm.
Mr. Robert. But for as far as here, we're here now in Chicago. Let me tell you, I've always wanted to do this show.
Mm-hmm.
Actually, the first time I ever was a spectator of Chicago Pro was in 2018, as I was actually getting ready for my first amateur show ever, which was Southern States. And I actually flew out here with my coach at the time and his wife, Jeannie Feldman.
Mm-hmm.
And I got to see her on stage at Chicago Pro, out here to support them. And I remember seeing her on stage and seeing a lot of the other competitors on stage, wondering if I would ever get there and if I would even have the guts to do it. Because it really, to me, I don't, not speaking for anyone else, but to me at the moment and even up until last year, I actually worked the show backstage.
Mm-hmm.
It just was always a very intimidating stage for me. As you can see, it is a stacked lineup of women physique competitors. We got 24 going into the open, maybe like another
Mm-hmm.
10 or 12 in the Masters
The
40.
Masters, yeah.
Yeah, and so I've always felt a little intimidated, not so much by the number, but just, I wondering if I would be good enough to stand up against these, other women who've been doing this a lot longer than me. I only
Mm-hmm.
started my career in bodybuilding in 2018 and I became a pro in 2019. And once you become a pro, you're starting over. And
Yes.
still trying to get your foot in the industry as far as people noticing you and knowing you. And that's something that I'm still working on, obviously. But I really felt that Shreveport gave me a little confidence,
Mm-hmm.
in that was a show of 19 women. There was, some Olympians in the stack there too. And I came six,
Mm-hmm.
out of 19. And I was very pleased with that. It was one of the best placements that I've had on an open pro stage. Some people would say, "Oh, that's just sixth place," but it's a sixth place that mattered to me.
Yes.
Considering, like I said, I've only been in the industry since 2018, and I'm not one of those competitors. I don't do a lot of shows every year. I took the whole season off last year to work on my physique, to grow a little bit more, to improve. So to come back this year and get sixth place at Shreveport, I was just like, you know what? Since Chicago's just a couple more weeks away, and you know
Mm-hmm.
we did a good job. The feedback was positive. Why not do Chicago? So I talked to my coach about it, and he was all for it. I got the judges' feedback; they were all for it. They gave
Mm-hmm.
me some tips as to what we could improve on, and I feel like we are bringing a good package. I'm very confident with the conditioning that we've worked on. There's not much time to add a lot of size, but we still pushed hard and lift heavy, and I was training every day, cardio twice a day. So I feel confident. My coach is really happy with where we're at right now, with check-ins, and so we're just going to see what happens tomorrow.
What's your coach's name?
His name is Umont Eaton.
Okay.
He's out of South Florida. Terrific guy. He's also a pro. Retired from the 212 division. But
Mm-hmm.
I don't know if you've seen him before. But he's trained some other great athletes. As a man, one of his athletes, Kenyon. He's a classic physique guy. Just qualified at the Indy Pro
Mm-hmm.
for Masters Olympia. He trains. He's not Lily Dong's coach, prep coach, but he trains her out of the same gym, Athletic Factor Gym in Pompano Beach. But yeah, he's a terrific guy. He's been competing since the age of 19, and
Mm.
he retired from the sport last year. But I mean, if you want to say retired, because he's still very passionate about bodybuilding and everything that he knows about it, he's basically impart that knowledge to us and how he preps us and how he trains us. So, real good guy. This is my first um, year with him, my first season, I should say, because it hasn't even been a complete year. We really just started training together in February. He got me ready for Shreveport, and he's got me ready for Chicago.
What was the feedback that the judges gave you out of Shreveport?
So I got actually two different feedbacks from two different
Mm-hmm.
judges. So immediately off stage, one of the judges said that they were um, really in awe with my physique. They said your muscle bellies are beautiful. Genetically, you got it. Just a little bit more conditioning from the back is what he suggested.
Right.
Another judge said the conditioning was on point, one of the best on stage. He just wanted to see a little bit more width to my back. So like I said, that it was a little bit mixed, but nonetheless, I mean nothing too crazy, and I felt that it was positive. My back has not been my weakest point, nor is it my strongest, but when I started bodybuilding, I don't know if you've ever heard most, some athletes have high inserts when it comes to their lats. So
Mm-hmm.
mine, that's pretty much where I started. So, we've been working on kind of like bringing them out and growing them a little bit, but we've come a long way. I'll have to make sure that I share you some pictures from my earlier days and you could
Please
actually
do.
see the difference. I will. I definitely will. I'll
Mm-hmm.
DM them to you and you'll see the comparison. So we've come a long way. It's,
Right.
my philosophy or my thought is that, it's a marathon, not a race.
Mm-hmm.
And for me, I'd rather take the time to grow into what I need to versus rushing anything. But I'm
Right.
very pleased with the growth that I've seen over the years in, doing this sport. So as long as I can keep doing it, I will. And, there's always room for improvement and I'll continue to take the feedback and work on that.
Now, how many pro shows have you done since turning
Um,
pro?
so, so I turned pro in 2019
Mm-hmm.
and my debut was at the Hurricane Pro, which no longer has Women's Physique. So I
Mm-hmm.
did that show. I've done Optimum Classic twice. Well, now three times since I did it this
Yeah.
year. I've done the Tampa Pro since 2019. The only year that I didn't do it was last year. And
Right.
depending on the outcome for Chicago this weekend, will determine whether I do Tampa or not in
Got you.
2 weeks. Um, let's see, what else have I done? um, Shreveport, Tampa. I've done. Um, I did a show in Phoenix, but I did that year as a wellness competitor. And
Okay.
actually, one in 2022, I did wellness, and I did Tampa Pro and the Rising Phoenix as a wellness competitor. So you could count that
Yeah.
stage as well.
Yes, it got
Um,
to.
yeah, and gosh, I want to say, and then now this year I added Chicago to it.
Mm-hmm. So you turned pro as wellness or
No, in women's physique.
in women's physique? Okay.
I started off as an amateur in women's physique. I just did that wellness one time in
Right.
2022. But
Okay.
I love women's physique. I felt like I did a great job with wellness, except my upper body just wouldn't come down. I mean, my
Mm-hmm.
biceps, and so I just figured I just need to stick to what I love. Genetically as an African American woman, when I have to grow, my bottom half is gonna grow too. It's just
Yeah. That's
inevitable.
just what. That's your genetics. Yes.
Right, it is. It just is. And so I'm the
Mhm.
kind of athlete that has to diet down a little harder and do a little bit more cardio to be able to bring my bottom half down to, be more of, a physique athlete. But it works. We found what works for me so far, and I think that we've kind of like finally hit what we need to do that, and we're just going to keep working on it.
So first time doing the Chicago Pro Tim Gardner show,
Yes,
and he really puts it on. Um, Love his show at Tampa. Chicago's always a big one. And at this stage
yes,
of the game, I want to say 83 days from the Olympia, you really can't say every show is stacked because it is what it is. Everybody's trying to get qualified. So you're
I
going in the heated competition of the season. And I think you said where there are 25 competitors for
24.
women's physique,
There's 24 of us
24.
in open. Mm-hmm.
Right. And the average, what I've seen has always been about that amount at the Olympia. And Tim Gardner, the 1 year he had the distinction, I think was the largest women's physique show. I don't know what year it was. I think I want to say it's like 25, 26 competitors in women's physique. So
Mm-hmm.
been there, done that. What's your overall purview of did you find yourself at check-in, glance to the left or right, checking out the other pros? Did you see Marika at check-in? Marika
We
Jones?
texted each other. We texted each other, and Marika and
Okay.
I were sorority sisters, and
Oh, okay.
we hung. Yeah, she's an AKA. I'm an AKA. We actually hung out together in Shreveport. I've known
Yeah.
Marika for a little, and she's my sister. But no, I didn't get a chance to see her because that check-in line was long. But we did text each other. We're hoping that we'll catch up, of course, tomorrow, and then have an opportunity to have lunch Saturday because we did
Good
get to
deal.
have dinner and breakfast when we were in Shreveport together. And actually got to know each other a little bit better because through social media is how we met, but we never really hung out. But no, I didn't get a chance to see her and hug her because that's what I would have done if I saw her. But no, when I'm in check-ins, I'm very zoned in. I'm not looking at other
Mhm.
competitors. Now I will talk to other competitors because,
Right.
mind you, I'm not only a competitor, but I work the shows. I work for Mr.
Right.
Gardner's
Right.
shows. I've been backstage. I've expedited. I've been a
Hmm.
trophy girl. So I
Yeah.
believe in serving a friendly attitude, getting to know people. I'm not afraid to speak to people. I keep it friendly. I mean, the competition happens on the stage, but when we're like in line or just we're all trying to achieve something, and many of us share the same backgrounds. Where we're wives, we're mothers, some of us are grandmothers,
Hmm.
career women. So I enjoy talking to people on that level. I stood with a woman in line today and found out it was her pro debut, and I
Oh wow.
told her yeah, I told her congratulations. It's going to be so much fun. I
Hmm.
told her that I've worked this show before, with Mr. Gardner. He puts on a fantastic production,
He
takes
does.
care of all his athletes. And I said she's going to be extremely happy with the outcome. And I encouraged her to do Tampa, and I told her how beautiful that city was because I once lived
Hmm.
there. And I told her she needed to come out and do that show. And so that's my attitude when I'm in that area because I'm already like, trying to focus on my next check-in and my next conversation with my coach, my next meal. So I'm not to say that I'm not worried about anybody else. I don't mean it in a way like I'm not saying that, oh, I got this. I'm saying in the sense that, we're all there for the same reason. And me, side eyeing or checking somebody out, like
Yeah.
it's not gonna serve any purpose for me. You know what I mean?
Right.
I rather just at this point now, the work's been done. We've all put in, our best effort, and we just need to show up there and just, keep it friendly and professional, and support each other. That's really what it's about. And
And what's
wishing
your
that the best woman wins.
yes, of course. What's your number again?
Number 12.
Number 12. What color is
Yes.
your suit? Can you tell us? Did you post
Of
anything?
course, I don't mind. My suit is a beautiful combination of greens this time around.
Oh, that's my favorite color.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah. Emerald
I
green.
love for the stage. I love for the stage greens, blues.
Mm-hmm.
Purples and pinks. Like I've done those combinations. This is the first one that's just been a solid color for me. I mean, there's different shades of greens in it, but
Mm-hmm.
it's a beautiful suit. I got Miss Maggie Kinney to do the
Okay.
suit this time for me. She's done Sid's suits in the past.
Figure, yeah.
Beautiful work. Yeah, yeah. So she did a beautiful job, and I'm excited to showcase that on stage this time too. I've worn some beautiful suits in the past. I can't say that anyone's suits that I've worn has been nothing. You know, if I Flexibella Couture, I've worn her suits for the last 3 or 4 shows. You know,
Right.
and I love her work. And I was once sponsored by her, and I wore one of her suits for Shreveport this year. I just wanted something a little bit different. I know that Sid had Maggie as her suit sponsor at one time, and I loved her work. And I thought to, let
Right.
me just try something different. And so she hasn't disappointed me. It looks great, and I hope it shows well on stage with as well as the body bling jewelry. I've always used body bling since 2018, and
Okay.
um, yeah, they're phenomenal because I don't they do the work. I sent her a picture of the suit, and she puts something together. She gives me 2 options of a collaboration of things. I said that one, and she
Mhm.
ships it. So she's wonderful to work with as well.
Good deal. So
Yeah,
take me through the whole check-in. You have a special insight because you work the shows as an expediter and working
right,
backstage and obviously as a
right.
competitor. Give me the purview through a competitor. You done the check-in. What did you see that you could have done better yourself or better prepared? What are some, I guess, some thoughts you would share with amateurs as far as doing check-ins, the do's and don'ts?
Oh, that's a great question, Glenn. What I would say is this. I know sometimes people say it as far as being type A personality or OCD, but I am like
Mhm.
living, walking OCD type A.
Yeah.
And I say that proudly because, being a nurse leader, you don't have a choice but to be very detailed oriented,
Right.
and meticulous when it comes to tasking and planning things, because that's just what we do. So I apply that same type of mentality to my bodybuilding profession. And what I mean by that is, I think you've heard the saying like early is actually being on time and on time is actually
Mhm.
being late. And so
Yes.
that's how I operate. And the reason why I say that, like, I'll give you an example. If you know check-in is at 4, don't show up
Hmm.
at 4. Show up early, because what I
Right.
noticed today is that I was early and the line was already long, you
Yeah.
know. And by the time I left, it was even longer. And there
Mm.
was women who still needed to check in. And so, I tell people like these promoters and the people who work backstage, the work that they put in and the timeliness of the production is so important, not
Hmm.
just to the people putting it on, but they do it as a courtesy to the athletes. Because when you
Right.
think about it, you have been prepping 20, 16, 12, how many of the weeks you've been prepping for a show?
Right.
We all know when it comes time to like that final hour, we want to get on stage, we want to do what we got to do, we want to be awarded, and we want to go eat, and we want to go spend time with family.
Right.
And let me tell you, the same holds true when you're working backstage. Those are some long hours that we put
Yes.
in. We start our days as early as 6 a.m. sometimes. And
Hmm.
then, we run through, and this is a pro am show. So when you're working these shows, you're working 2 days like this, not to mention even a day before the show, you're working because you're putting things together, goodie bags, setting things up, and everything. So,
Hmm.
I tell people for both amateurs and even at the pro level, when you're given a schedule and people are telling you to show up at a certain time, be there. You know,
Right.
don't take advantage and assume, oh, they never start on time. Oh, there's so many athletes. They're probably not going to get us started till then. I would say this: when there are more athletes, the expediting of the athletes go much faster,
Yes.
because time is of the essence. You have to keep in mind these venues are being rented probably
Mhm.
what by the hour or whatever the case
Yes.
is. And so a lot of promoters don't want to go past that time that they know that they signed the contract for. And so they got to keep things moving. So I would tell people, just because you see a stacked show does not mean that things are going to move slow. They're going to move fast because the promoters and the people who work there want to make sure that they are keeping things on time. And it's not even just for the people that work backstage. It's not just for the athletes, but you have audiences. You got
Mm-hmm.
ticket holders and people who pay their money to show up to an event where we give them a time to show up, and they want to be able to see their people at that time. So, I tell people, when you're given a schedule, what you could do professionally as an athlete, whether you're amateur or pro, is to follow that schedule and show up and be where you're supposed to be when we asked you to be.
Good stuff. Also, special footnote: Ashley Jones is also an AKA. So all three
Yes,
of y'all.
yeah, yeah.
So how now? Have you ever worn a suit based on your sorority colors, or how much does
I
that feed
have.
into anything?
I
Okay.
have. I did. And that one I actually wore the year that Kamala Harris was
Hmm.
our VP. She was running for VP. And I nicknamed that suit the Kamala Harris suit because she's the AKA.
Oh well, there you go. There
Yeah.
you go.
Yeah.
Good stuff. Great company.
Yes.
When you look at it now, you gone through the extra. Did y'all have an athletes meeting? Can you share anything
Pros,
from that?
no, pros usually don't. We
Okay.
just check in and we go to Step and P, take a picture.
Right.
Athlete meetings are usually for NPC.
Got you.
Yeah, we don't see a lot of meetings for the pros. I've been to, in the beginning of my career, I do remember attending one or two pro meetings, but since then it's just been a check in, a picture at the you know, and then we go. But Mr. At Shreveport, it wasn't so much an athletes meeting; it was a check in. But there was a little bit of an introduction. He taught, a couple of people taught, but not a meeting like we usually do for amateurs. We tend to hold the meetings for the amateurs because some of them are true novice, and so we like
Hmm.
to run down to let them know what they're going to expect from the day.
Got you.
Hmm.
One of the question I asked Marika was, and this was put out by Muscle Discord. He had some great stats on the numbers of shows, and basically, I guess the overall question was, are there too many shows? And you can look at this as a form of the expedite, as he said, the hours that y'all keep on your feet, and as a competitor. So, men's classic physique has 98 shows this year. Men's
Hmm.
physique has 106. Women's figure has 53. Women's bikini has 115, wellness 66, and women's bodybuilding had 20, which and then of course women's physique had 31. What are your thoughts on that? Are there too many shows, too many pro cards? I don't know if there's a right answer on it, but with 31 shows in women's physique, do you feel that's a good number?
Now, is this both amateur and pro, or just
These are just pro shows, just pro shows.
just pro shows?
Hmm.
Well, I would say like this: when you compare it to the number of bikini and men's physique shows in comparison, not at all.
Right.
Why? Because it gives us less chances to qualify for the
Hmm.
Olympia, obviously, both Masters and the one in
Yes.
Vegas.
Hmm.
Um, and then it does create what we're seeing, like even today in Chicago, a very stacked lineup of 24 women. And of
Hmm.
course, it makes for a great competition. Don't get me wrong. It really does. But with such a big lineup, you have to sometimes wonder, when the lineups are that big, is everyone getting a fair chance to of being seen? And
Right.
not to take anything away from the judges at all when I say that,
Hmm.
because the judges, especially at this table, we have Mr. Steve Weinberg, we have,
Hmm.
Bobby Lupo, we have Jack Sullivan, terrific men. I know them. I've worked with them,
Hmm.
and they're good at what they do. And I know that they give everyone a fair eye. I really do trust that. But it's just that when it's so stacked, it just,
Hmm.
I think it just can make it a little difficult, for everyone to really be seen, and the show will run smoothly, but it also runs quickly because you have
Mhm.
so many people that you got to get through. So I think sometimes the less amount of shows we have, it does create a situation where there's so many people jumping in that it just makes
Mhm.
you wonder, you know, how is it going to go? Am I going to get a fair chance of being seen? Is it going to be the most popular ones that are paid attention to? Like it runs through everybody's mind, you know, because there's a
Right.
lot of people that do have a very heavy popular base, especially when it comes to being influencers in social media. So, 31, you know, you said 31, 33 shows for women's physique, I don't think is enough. You know, when
Mhm.
I think any number less than 50 probably really isn't enough for a
Right.
lot of people to have an opportunity to go for the goal. Like we're all competing here for the same thing. You know,
Mhm.
we're not just showing up just to participate. You just can't do that in this sport because it costs so much. First of all, it's such a big expense,
It
and you know,
does.
and yeah, and people want to make it to that O stage. You know, whether it's now Masters Olympia or the one in Vegas, and I just think that it limits the opportunity for a lot of people to be able to make that reality come true when there's just not enough for us to participate.
Right.
And like you know, for me, like I have to travel just to be able to do a show. You know, it'd be nice if there was probably more in Florida or maybe something a little closer to home. And I
Right.
love traveling because then I bring my family, we get to see some different things, but it does limit us to what we have available to us. That's limiting us to how much we could do to actually make it to the O stage, you know.
Right. And of course, one the main statement is you have all these shows, and then when you get to Olympia, the Olympia's running long. I mean, you get in the neighborhood of 39 bikini competitors, um, roughly 25, 24 women's physique, as in the
Hmm.
case of, I think, women's bodybuilding, there were 12 last year. But,
Hmm.
women's bodybuilding only had 20 shows. But when you look at the
Right,
number of shows, that doesn't tell you the ones that are overseas versus the ones in the States. Um, and, are you going to, who's going to be the person to tell one of the bikini competitors who qualified for the O, say, well, uh, we got too many on stage, you can't come. And so,
right.
I don't know what the right answer is. It's definitely it was a clickbait subject, something with the spin, much along the lines of prize money as well. But hopefully, we can work it out at the end of the year and see what's best. Because I do look at it from the promoter's standpoint of dollars and cents, and they know that
Yeah,
wellness and bikini is going to bring the money in versus at the NPC level and the pros that's what they're
yes,
going for. So, but at the same time, there's got to be a balance. So if you're saying that there are 53 figure shows and 17 fitness, and that's another one that's shorter shows,
yeah,
but there's not as hard to
yeah,
find fitness competitors as well. So
yeah,
I don't know. We'll have to see. But yeah, you know, do you really want to adjust the time of the Olympia? I mean, who you going to tell no? I mean, I'm just talking about the obviously the women's competitors because I am Amazon's fitness magazine. But
right.
I mean, I don't know what the right answer is. It's a good spin up, a good dust up of a storm. But now you know what the problem is or perceived problem. How do we fix it?
Right. And there's no right or wrong answer. There's no, I mean, what do you do? Like it, at the end of the day, it's still a business, you know, and promoters got to do, you know, what the audience need. But then it makes you wonder too, like if we promoted the other categories a little bit more, you know, would people want
Mhm.
to see them more? You know what I
Right,
mean? And so if you're promoting or having more shows, I should say, for wellness and bikini, then naturally that's what people are going to know as
right,
bodybuilding, you know, and that's what they're going to think is, oh, this is what it is, especially to the person who just doesn't know much about the sport. But then
right,
I know
right,
too, like with the outpouring support that I see from people like you and you know FBB Forum and female, you know, muscle, and there's a good number of people out there that like to see some woman with some big muscles. It's just
Oh,
hard
most
for them.
definitely.
It's just
But
hard for
but
them to see them because there's just not
yeah,
enough display in them. And that's what I'm saying. I think that if there was an opportunity to display these female athletes in these other categories more, I think that maybe there would be a shift in interest. I mean, you
Right.
could only be interested in what is presented to you. If you see more of something, then naturally that's what you're going to think you need to see more of. And the
Good point.
less you see of something, it becomes obsolete, and so you don't think about it.
Right.
So I think that if maybe we were to spend a little bit more time promoting these other categories, I think it would probably shift a little bit more as to what people would really want to see at these shows, and maybe these shows could grow to include more of these other categories for female bodybuilders and physique and even fitness, as you mentioned.
Mhm.
It's just I don't think that we really put it out there enough for people to say, oh wow, because like I
Yeah.
said, the support that I see, it's incredible. And even just from the lamest person, like someone who's not a
Right.
bodybuilder, I used to be, when I went into bodybuilding, there were times that I felt a little uncomfortable in my skin because, I
Hmm.
wondered if people would look at me funny, like, oh my God, ugh, that type of thing. But Glenn, I don't get that. I get women
Yeah.
coming up to me and like, can I touch your muscle? You
That's
know,
great.
how
That's
do I
great.
get arms like that? Like, girl, your butt looks good in those jeans, And I'm like, oh, or your abs look great. What do I do? So I don't know. I feel the mentality has shifted to where that there are a group of fans or people who are just interested in bodybuilding and or just overall wellness and physique, period, just looking better, that look at a woman like me and think now that there's nothing wrong with having muscle and they
No.
wouldn't mind having a little bit of it because my following has gone up a lot, and when I look
Right.
into who's following me, I'm just like, this is not a competitor, this is just someone who's
Off the
you know
street. Yeah.
a mom with kids and she's doing her own little
Yeah.
home workout, but yet she's liking everything that I'm posting. She's not grossed out by too much muscle like people. I
Hmm.
think there's a shift where people are now really accepting that muscle really can look pretty. And
Right.
so I think that people wouldn't mind seeing more of it.
No question. And I think maybe a path ahead. Like you said, you guys have a following, and I would just say the women muscle divisions of women's bodybuilding, women's physique, and of course figure. And then when you look at the overall now 7 divisions, what fit model going to look like, and the number of shows leading into the Olympia in 2026 will be interesting as
It's
well.
it's gonna be
You
a
know,
lot too, I think.
yeah, that was no question. But I think at
Yeah.
the end of the day, those fans, those followers. I mean, how many followers do you have on Instagram?
I have a little bit over 15.6K. And I had a lot more than that. Unfortunately, my first page was
Yeah,
deactivated
yeah,
for some foolishness and I had to start over. But
right.
yeah.
But my point is, those 26,000 followers need to go buy tickets and come sit in the seat. And
Right.
that's the avenue because I mean, yeah, you got a great following. How do we get those people to buy tickets? Now, I love you supporting so many of the guys, want to see you out of the stage or in another platform or what have you. It just is what it is. But we need those guys and those ladies to buy tickets. Like I said, 26,000 people. If they buy tickets and come to see you, whether it's in Chicago, whatever show you're doing, and throughout every division, we may be on to something. But if
Hmm.
those people aren't buying tickets and coming to shows, then it's the same thing. And well, nobody comes to see you guys. You guys aren't
Right.
making money. But it is what it is. So I want to see how that develops. But I know I'm gonna do all I can to support you.
And you have. And that is very much appreciated from, these interviews, these podcasts, your magazine, you showing up to the shows yourself, you
Yeah,
know, and,
doing the best I
and
can.
yeah, and
But as you
conversing
said,
with
it's expensive. So
it
I need
is.
people, more people to buy the magazine and contribute, and I can go to all the shows. But
Right.
it is what it is. But we'll see how it goes, and go on from there. Well, you got to look out at the Texas Pro, the money, Sarah
I
Villegas.
have. I have.
What are you thinking? Are you looking at that one at all?
Um, I have thought about it. Just
Mhm.
have to wait to see again what happens with Chicago and if there's
Tomorrow,
an
yeah,
opportunity for me to go to Masters Olympia. We know that's in Tokyo and that in itself
right.
is going to be a trip. And
Oh, literally, literally.
yeah, yeah. And so, I always have to put things in perspective when it comes to my family. I have two girls, as you know, they're middle schoolers, and
Mm-hmm.
I really try my very best to do the shows during the
When
summer when they're
school's
not
out.
in
Yeah,
school, right?
exactly.
Because I want to be able to dedicate my efforts and time to their schooling and their extracurricular activities and being available. And
Right.
they're fantastic kids. I mean, they've been with me most of the summer and they've been very supportive. They're here in Chicago with me now.
That's great. I
Um,
was going to ask you. That's great.
yeah, I've traveled with my children when I've worked a show, but I've never traveled with them as I competed in a show.
Oh, okay.
But this is the first time, and so far things are going well. They're very supportive and very efficient. And I figured this was a really nice opportunity because we do everything tomorrow, and then Saturday's just open for me to take them out into the city and do a little sightseeing and enjoy the
Right.
city. And they could say that they've been to Chicago, which is what I want to be able to, when they're growing up, that they've been out of Florida and done some different
Right.
things in
Right.
their life. But yeah, so I have to think about my family. So, again, my husband, my children, they're all very supportive. So if I'm able
Mm-hmm.
to swing it around between school and work, absolutely, I will consider it after a conversation with my coach, of course. But,
Right.
like I said, right now, I'm aiming for, the Olympia with this show to this weekend tomorrow. Um, and we'll see what happens from there, God willing.
Yeah. Now, your husband made the trip as well
Oh yeah, my whole
with
family's
you?
here with me.
Good. Well, that's
Yes.
great to have that support staff with you. And I wish you all the best. I so appreciate you for taking the time during your peak
No,
week, during your
I
show
appreciate you
prep
asking.
to talk to me. Yeah, not at all. But I
No,
really
listen,
appreciate you.
what you do to support the female, part of this sport is very much appreciated. And if this is one way that I could show you my gratitude and say thank you, I definitely, what am I doing? What else am I doing
Yeah.
today?
Well, thank
So
you so much. Yeah,
I
you just
appreciate
waiting around
you to
waiting on
be.
the show. So maybe this is where I need to more progress in to get more competitors to talk during prep week or leading up to show. Cause yeah, you just like hurry up and wait. So that's good.
And I don't mind. I appreciate you reaching out, and I'm happy to support you in any way that I can.
Sure. Definitely thank you. And I really appreciate you, Daphne, for coming on now. You was a nurse, I gotta say, if I'm in the hospital bed and I see you coming, I'm gonna feel a lot better. So I know
they,
if
they
I
they say
fall, I know I
they
know if I fall out the bed, you can pick me up. So yeah,
oh, and my staff calls me for that too. I'll tell you that
there you
now.
go.
So it's one of two things. It's either they're gonna feel better or they're gonna cooperate because that's the other
Yeah,
half of it. I have some that just don't want to act right, but when I walk
there
in the
you go.
conversation, yeah,
Good stuff. Well,
yeah.
appreciate you. Go get some rest, and you'll hit it tomorrow. I think at 1 o'clock the women go on.
We actually start at 8 a.m. for masters,
8.
and then one
Okay.
o'clock for open. Yes,
Okay.
sir. Hmm.
And then the finals is all in one day, right?
All
Or
in one day. All in one day.
and that's good too.
It
And
is. It is.
hey, at the end of the day, you got to go get you some of the Chicago pizza, right? That everybody talks about.
Well,
How
I'm
the
gonna try to
Chicago
stay away
pizza is
from the
better than the
pizza
New York.
because
Yeah.
I'm gonna try to stay away from the pizza because I learned very early about that rebound thing, and that's no fun
Oh, yeah,
at all.
yeah.
So
Well, that's true.
I have my children. We've been exploring some options that will keep mommy, comfortable for the rest of this trip, and
Right.
asking them to hold me accountable. Because yes, I do love me some bread and some pizza, but I'm trying not to do that because, like I said, depending on the outcome, I'm going to be 2 weeks or 3 weeks out from something else. So I gotta
Right.
make sure that I'm okay.
Yeah, you want to roll into Tampa, right? So,
Yes, yes, sir.
but if all goes well, I'll see you in Tampa, whether you're
Yes,
on stage or behind the stage. But we got to do this photo shoot as well.
I
So,
will. I
I'm
will
really.
still be there because my husband's competing, so we will definitely
Oh,
be
there you
showing.
go. Good stuff. Talk soon,
Yes.
Daphne. Really appreciate you.
Okay.
Post
My
me some
pleasure.
stuff, progress pics and stuff that you got going on your suit. And
I
everybody will be rooting for number 12, of course, tomorrow at the Chicago Pro. Hopefully,
yes,
everybody will buy the
sir.
live stream as well.
Yes, I posted it in my storyline, so hopefully people will join us and be able to support that way too.
All right. Take care,
I
Daphney.
appreciate
Thanks
you. You
again.
too. Thank
Talk
you.
soon. Daphney Holmes, Chicago Pro. Tomorrow it all goes down. Marika Jones, you had talked to her earlier. I did not know that both of them are AKAs, and as well as Ashley Jones, so that's sort of unique. And they do know of each other, and so they'll chit chat and text, and there's good camaraderie and show of support of each other as they compete tomorrow on the Chicago Pro stage. Make sure everybody buys the live stream for Tim Gardner, and looking forward to seeing you all and watch it tomorrow, and let's root for them all. And as the women's physique and women's bodybuilding, and then of course tapers off to wellness and bikini and on from there. Special interest because Amazon's Fitness Magazine is interested in all of the women's divisions, and so that's what we do. Shout out and support and thank you to all those that have subscribed to Amazon'sFitMag.com, those that have bought the magazine uh, as well in print. And as I said, you go to Amazon'sFitMag.com, click on issues, and that'll take you to the magazine rack, and you can order the issue that you want. Till next time, we'll continue coverage of the Chicago Pro. Try to talk to some more athletes as they have time. I'm not there, but they're there. And so I really appreciate them taking time out to talk to me for a few minutes. I'm Glenn Young. Celebrate the female physique. Subscribe to Amazon'sFitMag.com. Always remember, not everybody's going to be for you, but that doesn't mean that everybody's against you. But what it does mean is that everybody's watching. So give them a show. We'll see you next time.